We all know that real estate has created more millionaires than any other industry on the planet. We also know that it has created a lot of heartache due to mismanagement, overborrowing, and just simple life events that happen to all of us. Welcome to the Cash Flow Pro podcast. My name is Casey Brown, and I am your fearless leader. And although we might be bourbon sipping and at times foul-mouthed Southerners, we will always do our best to be honest, straightforward, and due diligent with all of the information we pass along to you. Welcome to the show. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of Cash Flow Pro, your daily real estate investing podcast and YouTube channel. I'm here today with Steffany Boldrini, right? Did I get it right?
You got it, Casey.
Awesome. Well, Steffany, she is here with Monte Carlo Real Estate Investments, and we are excited to hear more about your story, where you came from, how you got into the real estate world, and most importantly, she was, I think, previously or as of right now, moving away from the car wash business, but we want to hear more about the car wash business because that has the tendency to at least reach out to a lot of people in this space as being the passive income thing, I guess. So anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've got going on, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So I'm originally from Brazil and have been in Silicon Valley for about 20 years, trying to leave. So I'm not one of them. And I was in tech sales for my career for about 10 years, and then decided to jump into real estate investing. And I was dating someone who was a successful investor at the time, and he taught me everything that I could possibly learn with regards to commercial investing, and have been doing this for about 3 years now. That's the very short version.
Awesome. Well, good. So how old were you when you left Brazil?
18.
18. So you the reason I ask is a lot of times people left when they're 2 or 3. That doesn't necessarily, I mean, it doesn't do a lot for a culture change. So at 18 years old, though, that's a pretty big culture shift from Brazil to Silicon Valley. Am I right?
Definitely for the best. I thank God every day that I'm here, and it's been a blessing, and very, very grateful to be in this country. So
awesome. Well, that's great. Well, we're always grateful to we're always grateful to hear stories like that, because a lot of stories don't end up quite as positive as that, where you come over here and you make something of yourself, you build a business, and then of course voila, seems like voila, right, here we are. But we're certainly always grateful for folks like you. So tell us a little bit. You dated a guy that was in the investment business, and he taught you everything that he knew or tried to. And so tell us a little bit about let's start with kind of your first deal. How did that come about, and what did you do and not do, or what did you do wrong?
Sure. So I purchased these lovely car washes, and let's see, what did I do right and wrong? So I came across them because I was looking for self-storage. Through my education, I realized that self-storage is a really good asset class, and the seller was selling car wash and self-storage together. The numbers looked great, and I said, how hard could it be to learn and manage a brand new asset class that has a billion moving parts?
Yep. So, I can guarantee you. The big thing that I always hear about, car washes is the mechanical aspect. The mechanical aspect pretty much, for all intents and purposes, takes away the
fun.
The passiveness, I guess, almost. The fun, yeah. the check cashing or the coin changing. So is that a correct assumption or a correct thing that I've
that is
I've
one
heard?
of them. Yeah, that's definitely one of
Okay.
them. So,
One of them.
things
One of
break.
them. What are the
Yeah.
others?
So not only, things break every day, or people take things, but, you're also
Sure.
dealing with a certain kind of employee that I'm not used to personally, and they don't have a ton of goals and things like that. So, it's a different world for me, and I have not figured out a way to manage these employees. Obviously, you pay more to get the best people, and finally, we have some good employees now. But I decided that I don't want to deal with that moving forward. And another thing is with coins in this particular location, not every single person has a credit or debit card. So we still need to have the option of receiving coins. And that brings a whole another level of not only people trying to take, a few dollars of coins, and they really work hard at trying to open those coin boxes for just a few
And they do
dollars.
more damage than they do good. You'd be better off to tape a couple dollar bills to the bottom of it and say, just leave my damn coin counter or leave my damn coin machine alone. Take this $10 bill here and let's all go about our way. No, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I had a friend of mine that was in that got in the car wash business is saying just exactly what you're saying, almost to
Yeah.
a T.
Yep.
His first issue, he bought the thing. This is where my thought process behind the mechanical aspect of it keeps it from being totally passive. But he bought the thing, I mean, the numbers were just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
stellar. He was like, why isn't everybody buying this thing? So anyway, so he ended up buying a dang thing. And he said he literally walked into his office the first day. He said he closed on it on like a Thursday or Friday, walked into it the next day. And he said like a $18,000 pump went out. The next more like he said he had sat down at his desk, was sitting there, all of a sudden the car wash wasn't running and it was 18 grand to get it fixed right off the bat. And I was just like, I just couldn't hardly believe that I was hearing this. And then because he was telling me what the numbers were prior, and then of course then I was like, wow, unbelievable. So man, that's unreal that there's just that. I guess the location and any number of other things comes into play there, right?
Yeah, and I think you should connect me with your friend so we can do some therapy and healing together. But
Therapy and healing. Oh my gosh, isn't that something? That is funny because he was so disgusted, and I'm talking about now when my conversation happened with him, he had probably owned it a couple of years by then. So I was just I was completely oblivious up to that point when he and I sat down, and we were just talking just as friends, and he and uh another one came on the market here in town, and I called him about it, and he said, "Man," he said, "it's going to take somebody pretty green to buy it." But I was like, "Look at these numbers." He said, "Yeah, look at those numbers, and then just go ahead and divide out the headaches." He said those
yeah,
numbers are divided by the headaches involved, and I was like, and
exactly.
so that was a new the reason why I bring all of this up is because I feel like it was a new you can't really quantify some of that stuff. Like you can like somebody damages your coin machine and it costs you $500 to fix it. That's one thing. You can quantify it, but you can't quantify the fact that you're sitting there worrying, like you're out with a towel drying cars because you can't hire somebody you trust even with the towels. And so that's what I guess I'm getting at is it seems almost like an unquantifiable headache to some degree, plus the quantifiable headaches of the machinery, the quantifiable headaches of the theft, and that's unreal. Wow. All right. Well, there we go. We got the car wash covered. So that is why you're moving out of the car wash business.
Yes. So my time, the way that I quantify is my time is not worth this income. because I've been spending a ton of time. And of course, we can all get managers, blah, 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 and all of that. So that's an extra expense, which in the end, it comes up to, similar numbers to other asset classes. So you can figure this out if you want to put, the effort and the energy. I personally decided that for those reasons, I do not want to move forward with further car
Well, and
washes.
let's be honest, it's a seller's market right now in almost pretty much every asset class. I mean, was it not worth just put the thing up and move on to the next thing and take, or is there too many wounds that are going to have to be licked to make that happen, or what's
Yeah.
the, are you going to stay in this particular one or what?
So as I've had some sleepless nights trying to figure out how I'm going to get rid of them, I don't want to sell because I think there are other options right now where we could build a build to suit retail and some of them. So that's what we're exploring right now with some leasing agents. And then, so when you have a national retail tenant in these locations, you can convert that to something like that, and then your cap rate is going to be pretty low, which is great for the property value. And then you
Sure,
either
sure.
exit or just keep that. So that's what I'm exploring at this point.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now you said I want to go back to the original part of this discussion where you said that you had that this was their self storage on the same property
Near it, yes. So that's another
near it,
thing we're going to
but
be
was
doing.
you bought them as a package from one owner?
Yeah, yeah, portfolio, correct.
Okay, so let's talk about the self storage element to this. What does that look like, and how is your temperament about that right now?
Yeah, so self storage is a phenomenal asset class, in my opinion, especially right now that in uncertain times, it does well in both good and bad times. And of course, the numbers are not as great and phenomenal as the car washes, but with regards to timing and being able to have a good team managing all of your properties, it's a whole lot easier. Self storage
Sure.
today can definitely be done remotely, in my opinion, and
Oh
unless you
yeah.
have U-Haul and things like that on site. But yeah, the goal is to continue expanding on the self storage asset class.
In more locations or expanding the current location?
Both,
Both. Cool. Cool.
correct.
Have you investigated the when you talk about the remote management? Are we talking about like people can go in, because I know there's some self storage places where you go in, you rent it, they give you whatever, and they give you your number, and then you go to it. Just like everything just happens right there with a debit card. Then every month, once a month, they zap your debit card, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, yeah. So not only can you have all of the lease done online, you can have your people download an app to open their doors and the gate as well. So there are many different things that you can do that are tech forward that will be able. You can definitely smoothly manage this from far as long as you have good maintenance crew on site and that the property gets checked on a regular basis.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we're moving out of car washes. We're expanding self storage. Also, short term rentals. Let's chat. Let's talk short term rentals. Is there a bigger piece of your story that's tied into short term rentals, or what's going on there?
I decided to do a few short-term rentals recently. It's also a really good asset class, but also a little bit of moving parts. Not as much as the car washes, but the returns are great. If people would like to learn about that, there's so many resources online, videos, YouTubers. The returns, from what I see, average 20 to 30% cash on cash. But you have to decide, is this something that I really want to do? It's a little bit like a hotel, so it's a little bit more moving parts, but the returns are still pretty good.
Well, and the big thing that I hear about that is the cleaning, the manpower it takes to clean and keep them
Yeah,
moving, recycle them, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Not even so much the location or anything like that, but recycling the actual unit and getting it ready to re-rent. So, how many of those do you own right now?
just a handful.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Now you're currently living. You said you're currently living in Silicon Valley. Is that right?
Uh, y- Trying to leave Silicon Valley, yes, either Florida
Gotcha.
or somewhere else.
Wow. There's a lot of people leaving California
Yeah,
from every walk of life.
people are
People
tired.
are just like they're out, and it happens. It's so cyclical, and it's so. I'd almost like to stop and talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
What are some of the main reasons? And you can tell us why you're leaving or why other folks are leaving California. What's the main mitigating factor there?
So, being here for 20 years, I have seen how many more homeless there are everywhere, and how much rights are given to criminals, and they in San Francisco they started handing out drugs to these homeless people. They pay them monthly. There is absolutely no incentive for them to get out of it, and they're not taking care of the mental issues that some of these people have. Someone wrote a book called San Francisco, and everything that he said there is true. He actually interviewed homeless people in San Francisco, and they are on camera saying they make it really easy to be a homeless here. And so
Wow.
that with you can steal up to $1,000 here without any consequence at all. If they catch you, they just take you back to the store and ask you to return the items. It's insane. There are so many videos out there, and at some point you get tired of it. You're like, why am I a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen? I'm the one who's a prisoner here. I'm the one who has to watch out my back and
Well,
all
and
of it.
I guess some of that progressive mentality. Of course, anytime the news media reports on anything, they're always reporting on the most extreme of whatever cases there is. And I think everybody at some time or another has heard about the giving of the drugs. And I guess that progressive mentality is like they're almost like saying, "Hey, we'll give it to you rather than you having to go out and steal to get it." Or but then you say they can still, so then they're giving it out, and then you're saying they can steal $1,000, up to $1,000, with no penalty. And so when you look at the combination of that, it just almost seems like a toxic mixture of, hey, I can get my drugs for free. Maybe we'll just send all of them there. They can get them for free, and then the rest of us can do what we do without that. But that's tough, man, man, man. So that's very, very interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of people leaving for a lot of different reasons, but that's probably the most that's the closest I've heard to the real dynamic issues that are going on there right now.
Yeah, it's all true. And people are getting tired of it. Too many woke people here, and they really want to shove things down people's throat when most people are actually, no, this is not right. But they don't know who they can talk to about this. But when you talk to people here on behind on closed doors, everyone is like, "This is crazy." I was reading some thread the other day. I used to think that homeschooled children were a bit weird, but now I want to homeschool my kids, and that's a sentiment I've been having for a while now already. Personally, I don't have kids yet, but I would definitely want to be homeschooling my kids if I would stay here.
Yeah, especially with, I mean, the doing of that stuff is one thing, but then the indoctrination of the next generation to think that that's the way. I mean, that that most definitely leads to again a toxic mixture of basically everything you've got going on there. So
Yeah.
well, dang. All right. So let's talk a little bit about. I'm just trying to think about how to couple all this together. So, have you raised capital for any of this stuff, like exterior, like capital from investors, or has this pretty much been stuff you've done on your own, or what does that look like?
That is the next step. The goal was to, first have a track record for investors to see that we're doing really well with this with these first few properties, and so that's definitely the next step here on the next self storage purchase.
Gotcha. Wow. Well, good. Well, that's interesting. So you're wanting to leave California. You're wanting to now. Where did you tell me where your short term rentals were situated at? Where are they located?
In Texas and Florida.
Wow. So you really are managing like
Yeah.
remotely because if you're in California, they're in Texas and Florida. Now, where is your self storage and your apartment complex? Or, I'm sorry,
Uh,
your self storage and your car wash.
they are in Texas.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting. So, basically California and do you own, are you where you live in California? I'm assuming the real estate market has just exploded as it or is it pretty well because it just seems like even in California with as many people that are leaving, the houses are still like extraordinarily high.
Yeah, everything went incredibly high during COVID, probably about 30% in the Bay Area, because, people have a lot of stocks here. And during COVID, the stock market doubled,
Everything
if
just
not
kept
tripled.
rising. Yeah.
So a lot of people bought homes and they got out of apartments, and the home market was insane. Now it's a bit cooling off, I think, everywhere, but prices have not come down yet.
Wow. Yeah, it seems to have that and it's always weird because California is almost usually the has an inverse relationship to everything else in this world. Like it's like if everything in California is down, everything else is up and vice versa because it just tends to be when Californians leave and they've been but honestly, I first heard of the Californians leaving like 2014, 2015. That's when the big exodus started, and it just seems like it's continued far longer than what anybody anticipated. Hi, this is Casey Brown, host of the Cash Flow Pro podcast and YouTube channel. Have you been thinking about investing in real estate but just don't know where to begin? I'd like to help by inviting you to check out our website at www.3000capital.com. There you will find an array of material that will help you learn all about real estate syndication. And while you're there, be sure to check out our free video series download titled 5 Must Know Keys to Success in Passive Real Estate Investing. I'd also like to personally thank you for making Cashflow Pro part of your day. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, I was reading an article also the other day that 6.3% of the population in San Francisco have left. So it's a huge
Wow.
number when you think
Yes, I
about
mean,
it.
yeah, it sounds minute, but it's really, yeah, when you put
Yeah,
a person for every, or when you start counting that in people, man, that is, gosh, dang. That's a lot. So, well, good deal. Well, listen, well, Steffany, we always ask a couple of questions at the end of every episode that there's no right or wrong answer to, and we'll be, just tell us what you think. But what is the best book that you've recently read or are currently reading?
um, I loved Untethered Soul. It's more on the dealing with situations as they come and not making a big deal out of it, to put it very, very simply.
Sure, sure, and that seems like you've kind of mastered that art at least a little bit with some of the situations you've been handed, trying to basically work out of them instead of sitting there crying about them. So,
You have to.
well, what the next question is? What is a dream vacation you have either taken or would like to take?
I would love to go to Madagascar on a private jet because it takes 32 hours to get there. So
Yep.
on
Yep.
a
I
regular
actually
flight,
had,
commercial
I,
flight.
I always get on Google Flights and I pan around and I think and I look and as we were talking prior to the show, we love to travel. And so I was looking at Madagascar one day and I was like, "Oh, wow," because you have no choice but to stop in South Africa or Tanzania or one of those areas and then jump over there. So, um,
Exactly.
but I'm in a complete agreement. Madagascar is definitely on my bucket list. So, anyway, but well,
We,
listen,
we should
Steffany.
we should charter a private jet, all of us who wants to go
Yeah,
there.
there you go. We'll just go get, yeah, we'll just charter one of those and roll on. Well, listen, how can the listeners reach out and get in touch with you if they've heard something they want to chat a little bit more about or learn more about you?
Thank you, Casey. So I'm on all social media networks, and my website is montecarlorei.com.
MonteCarloREI.com. And as you said, that was the ranch you were raised on, right?
That was the name of our ranch. Yes.
Awesome. That's great. Well, I know there's a ton of agricultural stuff in Brazil. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of cattle in Brazil, I believe, isn't there?
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most all
Well,
grass fed and really delicious meat. So
wow. Good. I for one am not a grass fed guy. I think we all know why. And as you can tell, I'm not a grass fed guy, but anyway. So, well, Steffany, thank you so much for taking the time out to meet with us and have the listeners learn a little more about you and why you are escaping both Silicon Valley and the car wash business at the same time. And listeners, if you liked what you've listened to today and you want to reach out and get in touch with Steffany, she gave you her social media, she gave you your contact info. Reach out and chat with her. She'll be glad, I'm sure, to help you along your journey if it's something that she knows or can help you with. And by the way, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. We would love to have you as a subscriber so that you can learn more about the real estate business, whether that be syndicating, capital raising, selling, whatever your niche is. We hope that you can learn something from our show. And I want to thank everybody for listening today. Have a good day.
Cashflow Pro is hosted by Casey Brown, founder and CEO of 3000 Capital, a commercial real estate investment firm committed to providing its investors with ongoing cash flow and helping them build long-term wealth. If you enjoyed today's podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified about all our future episodes. You can find more information about us and our investment philosophy by clicking the link in the show notes below. Thanks for listening.